Hey, welcome back to the Hold Project. Tonight, Friday night, got a couple free hours. We're going to tackle the last steps on this 86 Trans Am, and I'm going to kind of show you here what the problem is. So, in the first video, we did the Will It Run and rebuilt the carburetor. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. Got it running, and we have an idle issue where the car will start and rev up, you know, for its fast idle, and then it'll kind of start to like chug a little bit and then it'll stall. So if you put your hand over the primaries, like a choke, or completely close the choke flap, it'll pick back up and run really nice. And 99% of the time, well, I won't give it that much, 90% of the time, that indicates a vacuum leak. So what we're gonna tackle, we've got the brand new base gasket underneath this Quadrajet, and it's one of like those 1/4 inch thick ones. We're pulling air through there, and we're also sucking air through the intake along where the gasket surface is. So it definitely needs intake gaskets, and I've got a couple other carb base gaskets down here. And the other thing I want to check is to make sure, I want to straight edge the bottom of the carburetor base, and make sure that it's nice and true. I don't know, I could have screwed it up by over tightening I think there was only 3 screws in the bottom of it. So we're going to check that as well. If not, we brought down, I don't have them out here, we brought down some of the thinner style base gaskets. So let me start this up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Hear it kick off nice. Grab some brake clean here. I figured it was going to stall on us. Let's hit it again, and I'll kind of show you. Okay, grab your brake clean, spray it right around the bottom of the carb gasket. Oh, it's not going to do it. And I'll hit the intake too. Well, it's possibly not doing it right now because it's not warmed up. It's cold. We'll try it one more time here. I was very easily able to duplicate this the other night. Obviously it runs good with your hand over it. Essentially you're blocking the airflow, so you know, you've got enough fuel to run. You take your hand off. It's not, she's not going to cooperate. Either way, what we're going to do is replace the intake gaskets and check the bottom of that carb, make sure it's good and true, and if need be, we'll replace the base gasket with one of the thinner ones. Ooh, excuse me. Or loosen those 3 screws in the bottom of it just a little tiny bit, and then recheck it with a straight edge, make sure that to see what what we get out of that. So let's get started. Obviously, step one, we're gonna pop the carb back off. And I don't know if this radiator has a petcock down there or not. It'd be nice if it did. That way I'm not dumping coolant all over the floor. I'm not sure which side it would be on if it did have one. It looks like there is down there. Clear down on the bottom. So we'll open that up. Hopefully there's a little tube that sticks down through, and we'll put a pan underneath it and catch the coolant. And if I have a clean one, we'll reuse it, possibly. I'll check it, make sure it's good, but we'll reuse it because coolant's not cheap these days. So I do have some Peak down here and some O'Reilly's, but if need be. So let me get this radiator drained and then we'll start tearing this apart. All right, well, I'll change the plans. I just ended up taking the fluid evacuator and stuffing it down the radiator down to the bottom. Got a little over 1.5 gallons out of it. So you guys have already seen me take this carb off and put it on. So I'm just gonna rip that off quick. And then we'll get down to the intake and we'll probably, set the engine, cylinder 1 top dead center for the distributor and all that fun stuff. Super fun. So, all right. Well, minimal progress has been made so far. We've got the carb off, and now we've got to sort through all of the 157,000 vacuum lines and all the other glorious emissions items. So we're just going to start up here and start working our way back. We've got coolant temp sensor and all kinds of little things going on up here. Vacuum lines, more vacuum lines, radiator hose, and then it looks like the alternator bracket, and there's a brace off the AC that also go to the manifold. Heater hose here. Yeah, bunch of oddsy endsies. Brackets and all the things. So let's go ahead and get ripping, I suppose. It's too early. Tired this morning. And I was in bed and sound asleep by like 10 o'clock last night. You know. Getting old, I guess. We'll get this upper rad hose out of the way here. Jesus, right. Okay, that's off of there. What else we got down here? We got too many leaves and stuff in the way here. There's a ground. So that's got to come off. Both these heater hoses need to come off of here to get them out of the way. I don't know what this thing is. There's so many different vacuum deals on this car. I don't even know what half of them are. Rochester Products. Control vac. Now, whatever that is. Give this a twist to bust her loose. Everything's jammed so dang tight together you can't even grab a hold of nothing. Jesus Christ. I can tell you one thing's for certain, this car's never been apart. And I can't figure out where to get this light hung up to where I can see anything at all. Need like the super 100-mile long screwdriver to gain access to that one there. Oh, what a parade. I'm pretty sure this hose clamp is broke. I'm already bleeding. Sacrificed a knuckle. I don't even think it's 8 o'clock in the morning yet. We've already got the blood spilled for the day. Get those out of the way. What else we got down here? Wiring loom and whatever this conglomeration of something is. More vacuum stuff. Wasn't that? Alright, there's that. Jesus. So much vacuum. What else we got? This wiring loom is going to be a pain. Let's get this bracket off the alternator here. Probably a 9/16 down there, and you guessed it, 1/2 inch up there. That's right, it goes in the square hole. And don't forget, this is the one that has the grounds on it. So we got to make sure to clean those up. Oh, neat. That whole bracket has to come off. Might as well just pull the alternator out. Outstanding work, everybody. Pontiac. Wonder if maybe this is why all the hot rodders back in the day, they just said, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of all this crap. Let's see, if I leave that hooked up down there, that should be okay. Oh, what am I doing? Oh yeah, taking this bracket off. Take another 6 hours. I think once that bracket's off, then we only have does that bracket bolt up to the Yep. Why would you do that? Come on, Pontiac, GM. I mean, I kind of like you, but jeepers creepers. This is one of those jobs that by the time you get done, you've got every size standard wrench, socket, extension, wobble extensions, swivels. Your entire toolbox top is completely covered and the inside of your toolbox is completely empty because it took every tool in your box to do this. That's a 9/16 down there, and I probably don't have a 9/16 wrench down here, so that's pretty neat. You also can't get to it because it's behind a pulley. That's also pretty neat, so I have to use a wrench, and I don't have one down here. Oh, joys. All right, time to go on a tool run. Okay, we're back with some tools. this bolt out of here so that we can get this bracket out of the way. And then we'll start working on the other bracket next door over here. Let's see, I should probably loosen the tensioner here. Oh, oh, Moses! Somebody bench pressed that thing on there. Oh, holy smokes! Completely uncalled for. Okay. Back down there. That bolt out. Is that far enough to get it out of the way? Nope, I might as well just take it all the way off. You suppose? I suppose. Reckon that bolt's long enough. I normally try to thread my bolts back in where they came from during the process. It just helps keep track of them. Okay. There's that bracket. What do we got over on this side? We got to take that bracket off the top. Jeez. This one off, the intake. Now the only reason we've got the hook up here for the, if you got to pull the engine out of this, and rather than just being bolted only to the intake, it has another bolt that goes into the bracket. So that's pretty neat. And if I were a betting man, yeah, we might be able to get it. From the back side, looks like a 1/2 inch. Right over here on the back side of this. It's a pretty good spot for that. If I don't say so myself. Trying not to move all this vacuum stuff too far from where it needs to be. Oh, for Pete's sake. Why? Why would you do that? This has got to be. And guys, when you do one of these, make sure that you've got 850,000 different wrenches and 18 ratchets, because you're gonna need all of them. There's no reason that this bolt even needs to be here. Because if I were a betting man, anybody that's going to pull the engine out of this car probably is going to disconnect and remove the AC unit. So why would you need the cherry picker bolt hook thing going through that bracket? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, we can throw all this crap back over here. Maybe we can hook it up right up yonder. And what else we got? A bracket back there. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. It's probably got It's probably got 8 other brackets that bolt up to it. And 7 vacuum lines routed through it. I don't know who that was that just honked. Yep, just like I thought. Where's the other bolt? What in the world? Oh, there it is. Clear back there. Why would you do that? I'm telling you what. Yeah. I'm telling you that vacuum line just ripped. Boy, that thing's nasty. It's like all chalky and rubbery. It's like, it feels like Play-Doh. I probably have some vacuum line I can replace that with. Okay, let's try to get this other one back here. Probably can't until we pull the distributor out. Because then the oil pressure sensor is also back here jammed in with everything else. What is this? What a weird... Don't tell me that holds all the plug wires on there. What's going on here? It does. You're kidding me. Well, what kind of freaking... Boy, I tell you what, I've been to 3 World's Fairs and a goat roping contest and never seen anything like this. Alright, well, I'm going to fight with this for a while and put on some music because I'm already getting drove nuts. Alright, I got updates. The distributor's out, and that was a nightmare because somebody had bench pressed the hold down. Somebody bench pressed that thing so freaking tight that it was a nightmare to get loose. Or it hasn't been removed since 1986. Probably the latter. However, it's out. Marked everything where it needs to go back in. So now the nightmare continues of pulling the rest of this all out of there. So let's continue on with that. Oh, and where we're gonna start is, I don't know where. Oh, that vacuum line's broke. That's pretty neat. How about you unplug this and get it out of the way? How about that tab breaks because everything on this car is so brittle? Okay. Now what? That bracket over there and oil pressure sensor. Let's get those two. Now that 800 things are out of the way. Where's this other bracket at? I think it's way back here. Holy shnikes! Oh my goodness! That's how tight that distributor hold down was. And I had to try to get that loose with a stubby wrench. I tell you what, I don't wish this upon anybody. I've done a lot of intakes, and this by far has been the worst. plug wires, vacuum lines, throttle control, kick down for the transmission, all on one bracket. Here, let me bring you in for a closer look. All this stuff is tied into that bracket. Unbelievable. No wonder why Pontiac's not in business. Okay, well, I think that will conclude what we have to take apart, I think. Except for all this crap running across the front of the intake. And yeah, my luck, I'll have to pull the valve covers to get the intake off. Who knows? Let's keep plugging away. This is going to turn into like a 12-hour job. I'd rather buff the paint again. And of course those two bolts are a different length. Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be? Okay, let's try to figure out what we can do up here as far as moving some of this stuff out of the way. What's that go to? Of course, that's a pinch style clamp. So is that one. Get that out of the way. You know, I've always wondered why manufacturers never when they've got these looms, these wiring looms that spider web all over an engine bay, why they didn't put like one big connector over here so you could disconnect it and flop the whole loom over to the side or something. I don't know. Rhetorical question. Welcome to the nightmare. 86 Trans Am. Okay. Ouch. Okay, so that was one of the back corner bolts there. Well, let's just start unbolting it. Okay, well, this should be a good time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's go right up in here, over on this side. Oh boy. What'd you get yourself into here, Bob? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, lost my fender cover. All right, well, she's loose. Let's see if we can wrestle it out of here. I think we're gonna have to probably fight it, you know, a little bit, because we've got just too much crap. which should make it really fun to put back on and not ruin all the silicone we put down on the China walls and whatnot. Let's see if we go that fuel line is what's going to screw us. Because it's steel and you can't move it. So I was going to try to angle it up and out. Like this. Okay. Woo! There it is. Looks pretty clean in there, except for all the crap that I just dropped down in there. Okay, well, let's look at the bottom of this manifold here. See if we can figure out where it may have been leaking. Oh, don't tell me they... Nope, they didn't. Silicone. I was like, don't tell me they used those rubber things. Boy, look at how much they put on there. It's clean though. I mean, it don't look bad. You can tell it's only got 53,000 miles on it, but you can also see right here, it looks like it was leaking. So, I think we're doing the right thing here. Alright, well, I'm going to start getting all this cleaned up. Get all the crap out of there. Get the shop back over here and suck it all out of there. Alright, well, let's look at our gaskets here. This one actually doesn't look terrible. Just old, you know. But I think that'd been the passenger side one. I don't think that side was sucking any air. I think it was this side, and it obviously broke pulling it apart, but it's real crusty, and I'm pretty sure this side was the side that was pulling vacuum. Oh, pardon me. And let's have a look-see in here. I did shop vac some of it out, but it actually looks pretty decent. We'll get it all cleaned up and then fight with trying to get it back together for the next 12 hours today. And fire it up, see how we did. So I'm going to get to cleaning on all this stuff here. And that's pretty boring, so I won't make you guys sit and watch that. So we'll see you here after a bit. Okie dokie, well, a couple hours later, we've got her cleaned up in here. All the gasket materials cleaned up. Ready to go on this end. The intake's cleaned up, ready to go. I gave her a quick little rehab of some paint. It was pretty bad once I got it brake cleaned off and cleaned up. So it is an aluminum intake, and I don't know if the heads are aluminum or not. I don't think they are, but we could test it real quick if the magnet sticks to them. Nope, they're not. They're cast probably. So anyway, yeah, it's all cleaned up, ready to go. Just waiting for the manifold to finish drying up. And we'll start putting it back together. I'm sure that will be a joy. Just like pulling it apart. But, you know, take your time. You'll get through it. And then next thing you know, you'll be done. And your car will be like brand new again. So we're going to wait for that to dry. And then we'll start putting it back together. We'll bring it back for reassembly. All right, well, I think our intake is close enough to dry. So we're gonna go ahead and do our China walls here. And hopefully we have enough RTV. Now putting this on without screwing that up is going to be difficult, to say the least. All right, there's my back wall. There's my front wall. If I get really lucky, I can make this work by myself, but it's not going to be very easy. All right. Hey, how about you put gaskets on there? Probably wouldn't seal very good without gaskets, huh? Put a little more silicone in the corners here. And we're also going to try to figure out somewhere to get this giant jumbled mess out of the way. Okay. So if we can figure out how to hook absolutely everything on the intake, come on. Now what are we hooked on? Everything? Okay, good. Oh my God. Yeah, right. I don't even know where the gaskets went. They're obviously not there, so that's pretty cool. What are the odds this is gonna seal? None. Absolutely zero. Yeah. All right, a lot of swear words later. It's sitting in there. Should be okay. I had to move it around a little bit, but it should be all right. So we're gonna go ahead and start bolting up the brackets and all that stuff so that I can get this thing torqued. And I can't get it torqued until I get all the brackets on it. So that's where we're gonna start and get some of this stuff back in place here, and with a little luck we'll be in good shape. Cut our zip tie back there and lay that whole wad of crap back down. Because this should have a bracket here. And that one actually goes to that back bolt here. So this one goes up yonder. And then that goes there. What a pain in the ass. Put him back there. And then this guy goes over here. That'll go there. All right. I think that's all of them. Lightly snug all this down here, and then we'll get out the old torque stick. All right, starting from the center and working our way out, we're gonna do 15 foot-pounds the first go around, and then we're gonna do 30 as our final. Okay, now we'll go to 30 and we'll start over. All right, she's torqued. Oh, what a pain. I hope and pray that we didn't move too much of our silicone around and that thing seals, because I'd really prefer not to do that again. Now it's time for reassembly. After sit down break and maybe a Coors Light. All right, well, we're making progress. Distributors dropped back in. It should be damn close to where it was. So hopefully I'm not a tooth off. And we're just going through and hooking up the rest of the stuff. Sorry I'm not recording a ton of it, but I feel like it'd be pretty, I don't know, pretty monotonous for you guys to sit and watch, but that's just me. I mean, it's kind of hard to get you in here and show you anything because it's, you know, it's just a tight area and a pain in my ass. But we are making progress fairly good here. I'm looking for my little spark plug holder downer pinwheel round circle. There it is, right there, this thing. Should I clean that up a little bit? I think so. So yeah, anyway, we're just moving along here, and I'll bring you back for updates. All right, well, I think we've got it wrapped up. Sorry I didn't show you a whole lot. Today was one of those days where I got my butt kicked all day. And rather than trying to record and spending the next 9 hours trying to edit out all the cuss words and, you know, everything else, I just put on music and got it done. So I guess it's going to be the moment of truth here. I believe everything's hooked up. If not, we'll always wish it was. And then, you know, we'll go from there. So it's got coolant back in it. Still has a little bit left in that, but as it cycles, it'll pull some down. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully it runs better. I did put a different carb base gasket under it too, so we'll find out. All right, let freedom ring. I also don't know if I have the timing set correctly either. If I were to guess, the timing's probably off. I could be off a tooth. Yep. Let's go with that. Everything's hooked up to the distributor, and everything else should be hooked up. I may be a little off on the timing. I figured it would have at least tried to start, but we'll visit that another day. We'll try her one more time and yep, I'm gonna go with timings off. It's not 180 off though, I know that much. So anyway, I've had enough for today. I've had enough for this Saturday. and I'm gonna go shower and get cleaned up and forget about this for the rest of the day. And maybe we'll come down tomorrow and screw with it. All right, well, we'll see you later. Never mind. We're gonna try her again because I just ran the, tried to give her a couple shots of gas and there wasn't any, so we're not getting fuel yet. So I put a little down the carb. Let's see if we can get her popped off now. We might have a super. Is that belt loose? It doesn't feel like it is. Somebody's squealy. Let's hit her one more time. She still doesn't want to run worth a shit. Let me get some brake clean. And see if we're sucking air somewhere. Jesus, why are you squealing so? All right, well, she runs and it doesn't appear that the timing's off a tooth, so that's good. We'll continue on with it tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Saturday. All right, well, here's where we're at. We're gonna go ahead and pull this carb back off. And the reason is I'm trying to get all of this stuff adjusted correctly from when I rebuilt the carb. And if you guys have ever messed with one of these electronic controlled Quadrajets, I think this one's like an E4ME, you can't adjust most of the stuff unless you have a scan tool or whatever with a dwell meter. There's a couple guys on YouTube already that have really good tutorials on these carbs. I've got everything close, but we're still off a little bit. So I'm just gonna pull the carb back off. We're gonna throw her up on the bench over here and go back through it and make sure that everything is where it needs to be. There are different variations apparently of the E4ME, and I'll explain some of that when I've got it on the bench. But for now, we're gonna pop this off, throw it up here, and then we'll go through it. All right, we've got her off. And what we need to do, actually first, this is your throttle position sensor. Spring goes down in there. That sets down in there like so. Boop, boop. Spring loaded. Accelerator pump. So on and so forth. Anyway, this plunger goes down inside a jet, down inside the idle control solenoid down in here. And this little bat wing looking thing here is essentially your stop. And then your metering rods on the sides here is what this pushes down on. So essentially what you got to do is when you push down on this, there's a measurement that you have to use a special tool for, which for me was a straw. And that straw sets right down over the top of that jet. And when you put your plunger in here and you push down on this, that ear should just barely touch the top of that straw at the same time that it hits the stop on the top of that. Well, here, let me get a pointing device on the top of this solenoid. So this screw back here, let me get this accelerator pump out of the way. This screw right here is adjustable. And when you thread that in, it lowers that stop position on top of that solenoid. So basically you lower this until you get to the point where this touches the stop and the top of the straw at the same time. And then from there, you count your turns of this, take this back off, take all this apart in here, and then put your plastic deal back in there and thread that back in the amount of turns that you counted when you took it out. It's ridiculous, I know. Then over here on the air horn side, this is your, I believe it's called, I think that's the lean mixture screw. And that also sets on top of the back of this. Got that wrong, flipped it around like so. And that has its own adjustment. And this requires a special tool for adjustment. This requires a special tool for adjustment. And then underneath this is, I believe, your rich idle mixture, which you have to drill this out to get to. And I think there's another adjustment underneath this one. I don't know for sure. I don't remember. But anyways, to get all that set up with it in the car is a pain. And I believe that we have a vacuum leak somewhere over behind this choke. So we're going to pull all this apart. And I've got some other pieces in the carb kit that go in there. And this, obviously this carb kit covers multiple different eras and models of this particular carb. So that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be an enormous pain, but it's what we're going to do. So let me start digging into this, and when I get it down to where it needs to be, I'll kind of show you, and I'll show you a little bit while I pull this apart in case you're doing one of these. You can see, like I said, there are other videos out there that are far more detailed than what I'm going to explain on this video. I can put the link for those in the description of this video if you want to go check them out. That's where I got the idea for the straw. There's some very smart fellers out there, and I'm not one of them. So anyway, let me get this going here, and then we'll come back here in a minute. So in order to do this, we have to drill out the 3 rivets on the choke. And then going back together, we have to find self-tapping screws or use some sort of repair kit to put it back together. I've got a nice little printout over here so I don't screw this up too bad. So we're gonna find a drill bit here. We'll go for a 5/32 and find our drill here. Really, I'm not a huge fan of this. But the other thing that's weird, why I don't understand why they'd have to use some of these jets that you have to drill out the core to be able to get to. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think we're gonna go bigger than that actually. What's it say to use? A number 21 drill? Well, these aren't labeled as a number 21. You guys, if you guys know what a number 21 drill bit is, leave a comment down there. 5/32. Okay. We'll go with 5/32. How about that? How about that? No. You just behave. You know what else we should do? Let's be smart about this here, and let's mark it before we take it off. That might help us just a little bit. There's 2, 3. Take that off. And that's obviously slotted onto that. Okay. And that started in the full up position, so we're going to leave it like that. Take the big screw out. All right, so we've got the big screw out, and she's separated. So I don't know if this all comes out together. Yep. Okay. We're gonna leave that together. So here's, okay, that spline's on the inside to it. So this is what we're after, is this seal right here. If you can see that. Okay. And that seal, you guys probably can't see diddly, and I can't either. So that goes through into there, and this does, over here on the parts breakdown, show the seal in there. So let's try to carefully get this seal out so we can match it up with one out of our kit over there. All right. There's that seal. So let's go over to our kit here and grab this bag, and it looks like this was totally my mistake. I didn't know that that was back there. If I would have, we wouldn't be in this position right now. So it looks like there's multiple of the same seal in this kit. Alright, we'll put the rest of this back in here so I don't lose it. Okay, so our original one's on the right, and we've got 3 others. So let's grab one. They appear that they're all the same, and we will stick the new one down in here. Okay. And I believe there's another one behind this. In fact, there's 2. It looks like one of the green ones and then another black one up there. So let's unbolt that. There we go. I like that better. There's one on each side, I see. Oh boy, what are we getting into? So these are obviously the throttle shaft bushings. Oh. Boy, that baby's tight. I do not like that at all. Freeze off. Let's get the freeze off out. You gotta take the throttle blades off, right? Boy, I don't know. Let me figure this out. I'll be back here in a minute. All right, well, we've got that apart on this side, and there was no bushing there. So I don't exactly know why. But if you look at this, what's behind the choke? Okay, we got that one. Maybe there's not. 67. So is there supposed to be another one? Is there another one inside the choke somewhere? I'm wondering if there might be. It sure looks like there should be another one inside the choke. So let me hold that together. Find a Twerks bit. There we go. Oh, Moses. Oh, there she goes. Holy smokes, that thing was tight. All right. So there's that. Flip this back over. And see if we can get this popped off the inside. Boy, I don't like doing this stuff. You guys that rebuild these, props to you, because if I don't have to, it's not my favorite thing in the world to do. All right. So there's that piece, no bushing. There's that piece, no bushing. All right, so where's the bushing supposed to go? Right there. It's supposed to go on the back side of this. And let's see. Number 69. 69. Cam, secondary lockout. Seal, intermediate choke shaft. And I believe there's a note. I think there's a note in here on the direction of that seal. Maybe it was down here. Electric choke models do not use choke cover gasket. Seals with intermediate choke shaft, 6967. Seal 69, install with lip facing out. Seal 67, install with lip facing in. Okay, I did 69 facing out, so 67 facing in. Well, it fits. So let's make sure that it fits correctly in here. Oh, I see. I had that on backwards. Lip facing in, pointed in towards this right here. I'm gonna guess that's probably what they're talking about, because the way that that's set up, there is a lip there, and that fits just like so. Yep, sure as hell. All right, and I believe I've got this back against the stop where it should be. And there's a lot less play in that now with the way that's set up. That's good. Put this back on here. Put our screw back in the middle. Hopefully y'all are learning a little something with me here. And hopefully you don't ever have to get into one of these E4ME carbs. Because believe you me, they're not fun. Snug that back down. There we go. There's our new seal in our choke. Put that there. Put that on there. Obviously your screw goes towards the detent here. Hopefully you can see what I'm pointing at. And then, oh, somebody's got the tunes going over there. You guys can't see anything I'm doing. And that'll go like that. And then this end of the spring sets right there. Okay, that's back together. Let's get our choke on, and then we'll start working on the other stuff here. Clean this shaft up a little bit. I'm glad you guys just reminded me. Do not forget to put this in there when you put this back through, because I just about did. Pull that out just enough to slip this down there. I might have to get my tongue out for this one. There we go. Got her. Yellow. All right, well, we're getting her back together here. Sorry, there's probably some things I didn't show you, but like I said, I wasn't going to show it all to you anyway, because there's other videos to watch anyway. So your idle or your air mixture screws here, they require a special tool to use. So basically I just notched the end of a little piece of brake line to where it fits right over the top of them, and you can use it to turn your idle mixture screws. So we're going to back these all the way out. You could tell by where they were set that they were not set equally. So we're going to pull these out, make sure they're clean, and then put them back in and just set them to basic setting 4.5 turns out. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Those actually appear to look fairly even now. So now the next step, we got to torque the air horn down. I'm gonna guess the gasket's gonna leak because I ripped it. Screwing around with the throttle position sensor, trying to get it set. And then we're on to figuring out what to do with the choke. We gotta knock these rivets out of the case, and then find some screws that are gonna work for that. All right, well, we're back together and running. not running great, but there are some adjustments that I need to do still, like the throttle position sensor. That's enough. The throttle position sensor, which is a pain to get to. Solved. You piece of shit. So that sensor could be bad because I'm only getting one constant reading. I'm not getting a change when I adjust the sensor. Running about 600 RPM. I don't know, this is the longest I've had it running, basically. Flip on a light in here so we can see our gauges. She's just starting to warm up. Good charging voltage, great oil pressure. Check engine lights on, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to use the pinout or something and see if I can get the code to flash and tell me what it is. Obviously, I'm guessing it's something with the throttle position sensor, or probably a throttle position sensor, because I can't get any reading off of that. Let's see what it sounds like. Don't sound like it's missing. I don't know, some of you guys that have commented on this are very knowledgeable in these cars, and one of you guys might be able to help me out with this. But so far so good. I mean, it's sitting here running. Needs a lot of adjustment. But like I said, most of these adjustments, it's not like a normal carb where you can just sit here and do the adjustments. They're their own special breed. Anyway, I'm gonna let this run for just a few minutes and I'll be right back. All right, well, there you have it. Intake manifold, gaskets replaced, carb gone through and rebuilt again. We do still have a little bit of work to do before we get it up to town. We got to make sure, get the timing set, and a couple other carburetor adjustments, and I think she will be good to go. All right, folks. Well, we're going to try to get this timing set, and we're going to make a couple of tweaks to the carb. Got some parts here. New throttle position sensor, and the reason for that is because I was getting terrible readings out of the other one. I'll kind of show you what they look like here. This little guy here, this plunger, he sends signals through the wires here, and that's what you use to adjust the throttle position sensor itself. Instruction sheet, and it also comes with a new spring, a new plug, a new plunger, and a cotter pin. And the reason that it comes with a new plunger is because you can see this brass plug right here. You have to drill that out, and then the adjustment is underneath that. And what that does is allows you to adjust this. This is the plunger here, the green deal. So when that is sitting in there and it's all put together, that plunger is pushing on the throttle position sensor, and the little hook deal here is what's pushing on the body of the sensor on the side of the lip. So when you drill this plug out, it adjusts this hook to a certain position, which in turn moves the position of this. This is actually a fixed, once you have your accelerator pump hooked up, this is fixed in a certain spot. So, you know, when you're moving this up and down, you're changing the position of this plunger, giving you different voltage readings. So there obviously is a specification for where that needs to be, and I was not getting the correct readings. Well, the readings I was getting were so bad that it was out of spec even without me trying to adjust it. So I don't know where I put the old one. I probably threw it somewhere, or who knows. But anyway, on the old one, I pulled it back apart, and I don't know if it was me or if I didn't notice it or whatever. Oh, here it is, right here. You can see it's broke, which would obviously be why my readings were so bad. So anyway, with all this screwing around, I ended up tearing the gasket, which I also threw somewhere to an unknown location. It might be up here on top of the car. Yeah, right here. The gasket's ripped here, here, here. This is where the accelerator pump comes through. This is where the throttle position sensor plunger is. So it actually sits in the car like this. Yeah, this gasket is screwed, and I couldn't find just that gasket, so I had to buy another entire carb rebuild kit and the new throttle position sensor. So anyway, I did find a suggestion online that when you put this all together, you take, well, here, I'll show you. Once you set your throttle position sensor in its little hole, obviously you got to put the spring under it. It sticks up, and you use that putty knife or whatever to slide in there and hold everything down to set the air horn. And once you get the air horn set, you can slip this out and everything will be in its spots where it needs to be. So we're going to use the new spring. It looks like a stronger spring than the original one, and get this back together. And once we get the throttle position sensor right, then we can time the car, and hopefully it will run really nice. We will see. So let me get this dropped in, get the new gasket on there, throw the air horn back on. There's also another adjustment, your rich stop. I think that's what that is, this center piece here. You can drill out this brass plug and adjust that as well as this adjustment. These I just do not like these E4ME carbs. I don't know what this position is supposed to be. Some people say drill that hole out, adjust this all the way up, flush in the carb, and then do your adjustments when the car is running. I may wait on that and just see how it runs before I start screwing with this adjustment. You know, let's do one adjustment at a time, is what I'm saying. If you start doing too many adjustments, then you never know what adjustment actually helped with the car running, if that makes any sense. So let me throw this back together. You guys have seen me do it probably already 150 times because I've had it apart 150 times. And we'll be back here in a jiff. All right, well, we got the choke adjusted about as good as I can get it. And now we're going to drill out this little plug and try to get it removed. Gotta try to hit the center of it though. Well, come on now. It says to not use a punch because you could run the risk of getting it jammed in there. Okay, there's our hole. And now we've got to find the screw, I guess, to screw in there and pop that plug out. So let's find a small one. Something like this maybe. Let's try this one, I guess. And then once you get your screw threaded in there, you can pop the plug out and then make your adjustments. Okay, that's kind of in there. Grab some pliers. Look at that. There she is. Well, that wasn't too bad. Now, I'm sure there's probably a special tool needed. And yep, it sure appears there is. Unless it's just round. Yeah, it looks like it's just a round deal. So let me try to come up with something to make this adjustment, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do. Well, I don't know if this will work, but this is a red heat shrink tube. And let me go turn the key on. And we'll watch our meter here, see if anything's changing. Nope. I think we're just spinning. Well, dang. I might have to run up to the parts store and maybe get a roll pin. At least I have a size reference. I can take this with me and try to find a roll pin. Let's go up there. I'll be right back. All right, I got a 5/32 roll pin and an 1/8 inch. Those were my two options. We'll start with the 1/8 inch. I think it's gonna be too big. Yeah, that doesn't even fit in the hole. Okay, so that one's out. And that one I think I can make work. Let me find something to give her a couple little tappies with. This may work. Let's turn the key on and find out. Okay. Oh yeah. So we're looking for 0.48, I believe. Temperamental little guy. All right. Well, keep one of those in your glove box, and don't put the new plug back in. And if you need to make an adjustment on the fly, you can. Okay, let's check everything out here. And one more thing I wanted to do before we go to start this again, I wanted to reset this back to 4 turns out. One half, one, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Any wagers on whether it'll run? Probably not. Well, let's find out. Well, that was anticlimactic. God, stop dying. So far, that's a little timing set up. All right, well, last night while we were waiting for this to idle down so I could get the timing set, we started running into stalling problems, and I traced some of that back to the choke, and I got that adjusted correctly. And now, unfortunately, the fuel problems are starting. I just pulled the filter out of it. It's pretty plugged up. There's a bunch of rust when you push the little diaphragm and look inside. So I took it out, tried to start it up just to see if it made any difference, knowing that there's a possibility of getting rust in the carb. And it'll start and run, but not for very long. I think the fuel pump or the sock in the tank is probably getting plugged up. We're not getting near enough fuel up to the engine that we're supposed to be getting, which means the tank's probably gonna have to come out of it, and I'm out of time this week. I have no more time left to mess with it. We've got Valentine's Day, my 4-year anniversary with Chantel, and then her birthday this weekend, and it's just not gonna happen. So, that being said, I think we're gonna have to wrap this one up for now, and hopefully the next time you guys see this car, we'll be out driving on the road and hopefully get it back to Tom. So unfortunately, that's going to be it for this episode. Appreciate everybody watching as always. Like, share, subscribe, do the thing. Give us some thumbs ups and all that good stuff. And we will see you very, very soon in the next one.